Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Mobile Tech Live, I guess. We don't do this often, but I have some great guests today, and we have the iconic duo of Lee Roth and Paul Kane. So, guys, happy holidays. Thanks for being here. We're going to talk about the OCTAGON, this brand
Let's do it. Absolutely.
We thought this up. We aren't even really sure what it's going to be, but we're going to talk about it. And hopefully,
a couple of times that it's either going to be amazing or it's going to be a debacle. I don't know which way it's going to go.
Absolutely. All right. So for those people living under a rock, why don't you guys introduce yourselves and kind of give a little background? Lee, why don't you start there?
Sure. 21 plus years in PDR, was in auto recon prior to that, just generic stuff. Was the head trainer for Dinking for many years, still help them out regularly. Just lucky as hell to be able to do the things that I do for MTE. Thank you, Sheldon. Being able to host the Den Olympics and do different announcements and things like that. The PR director for the Kevin Halewood Foundation, when we're doing the bass tournaments and the golf tournament now this year. The crazy Texan that moved to Southern California about 4 years ago for Dinking, and now I can't leave because of my fabulous fiance Chelsea that lives here and doesn't want to go anywhere. But if you don't know me, you have been living under a rock because I'm just the idiot at MTE or PDR Expo that dresses up in the costumes, and Elvis here. So
yeah, they might only know you by the costumes, actually.
Well, and it's funny how often that happens. I literally have had several people over the last several years since I did that. I saw them at PDR Expo, and they're like, "Yeah, Elvis was crazy," and I'm like, "That's me." Hello. And they're like, "You were Elvis?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Paul, what about you? Oh, can't hear you.
He lost his mic.
Product lines and stuff like that.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh,
you were muted for a second.
Oh, okay. Should I start over?
Yeah.
I've been in the detailing community for about 28 years. I've been a route guy for 10 plus years, and I sit on the Founders Club for the Detailers of the Round Table. And right now, I'm currently working with one of the largest franchise used car dealerships in the world, doing all their reconditioning.
Awesome.
It's super cool. And he's just a cool dude.
So we came up with this idea, the OCTAGON.
Yeah.
The idea here is, you guys are moderating, but we want the audience and the people at MTE to talk out those issues that they gripe about every single day on Facebook and act like they are the authority and know the best. So we want to talk it out in person, and we want to hear these things and, get a dialogue going. So Lee, what are you anticipating? What kind of issues do you think are going to pop up?
well, issues are a different story. Seriously, it's those conversations that we all want to have. And most of the time, a lot of us techs at MTE or PDX, we'll sit there and have these, conversations privately with each other. But the different, things that go on in the industry, communications between technicians and vendors, keyboard warriors on Facebook or Instagram, and you're sitting behind your keyboard and your desk, and you might pop off and say stuff, but you'll never do it in front of people. The disclaimer for this is that at the end, this can be absolutely awesome. We want people to come in, bring up topics. We'll have some topics that we're going to spit out there and spitball out, but we want people to bring up own questions and own ideas and issues, that they deal with within the industry and growing their business and just things in general. But the disclaimer is, hey, if we do get into some of those difficult conversations, if you want to call somebody out that's in the industry, it's fine. We're going to agree to disagree at the end, or we're just going to agree to shake hands. And what happens in the OCTAGON is going to stay in the OCTAGON. And we can all go have a beer afterward and have a freaking great time. I just think it's a super opportunity and a really cool thing to be able to finally do something like this. Because, yeah, it's something we've talked about numerous times over the years. Let's just pull the trigger and do it. Come on, pop off, say something. Me, I have no problem calling somebody out. So let's see what happens.
Everyone listening kind of gets the idea. The room we are in is an octagon. That's this came up as like a boxing match idea, but when I saw we had to go, UFC. So just so everyone knows, Paul and Lee will be in the middle, kind of moderating. Then everyone else will be sitting around the edges, and Sheldon is providing an open bar outside. So everyone can walk in with a beard, kind of get those conversation juices flowing. And, we're going to have microphones we move around so everyone can talk. And, we try to ask, raise your hand so that we can bring you a mic so everyone can hear. But it is going to be full audience participation. This is not just Lee and Paul talking. Absolutely.
And I'm super excited to do this with Paul because, there's so many aspects to the recon industry. I'm coming from the PDR side. Paul's coming from the detail and the other reconditioning sides. But this is for everybody. It's not just for PDR guys. It's not for just the detailers, the glass guys, the touch-up guys, the interior guys. I mean, any of the vendors that come in there, that sell everything at the shows, have the opportunity to come in and do this. And that's what we want. That's, like I said, that's the reason why I'm really excited to have Paul do it. Besides Paul and I are good friends, he can bring what I can't from that side. But what's so interesting about this is we've already been throwing ideas back and forth. And pretty much everything that I came up with for the PDR side is the same thing Paul's coming up with for the detail and the recon side.
Well, Paul, what are some of those topics you're thinking of? Oh, we lost you again. I think, all right, I tried to turn you up. Sorry, try now, Paul.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, but it kind of goes back to what Lee was talking about for the vendor side. You got vendors that are always trying to undercut each other, take away customers from each other, things of that nature. You know what I mean? It's like they have a chance to sit there and call each other out on it. You know what I mean? It's like who's got the best ceramic coating? Who's copying whose tools?
That's a big one right there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Things of that nature.
Right.
No, that's great. Honestly, anyone watching this probably knows, I know those top 5 things that we all talk about or what's hot right now in the industry or hot. But it's really I'm so curious to see who's actually going to step up to the mic and, actually talk about it one way or the other.
And there's little topics that can come up that can really grow into bigger conversation. Just like, I'll just throw out a quick example for the PDR side, waiving deductibles. It's a massive argument within the industry. Nobody wants to admit it. Nobody does it. Everybody does not do it. Nobody waives deductibles, right? But the problem is you get caught in this deal when you've got 15 hail guys lined up down the street. If you're the only one that's not doing it, they're getting the business, and everybody's afraid to stop doing it. But the reality to it is, and this is one of the topics I'm going to bring up, there is, if everybody will charge actually collect deductibles, then everybody's going to make more money. Stop it.
Right. But then there's going to be that one guy that's like, oh, I can just undercut. And that's exactly what happened.
Exactly. But it's a great topic.
On the retail side, I hear a lot about, these $100 ceramic coating jobs, which anyone really in the industry knows is a sham. It's probably some little top layer spray
absolutely.
on. But that's what people are hustling out there. I don't know if they're using that to get more business.
Got the fly by the seat of your pants people. Yeah, you just got all these fly by the seat of their pants. You've got these really reputable shops that are, putting all, they're doing, 8-hour paint corrections on cars and stuff. And then you got the guy down the street that's advertising a $99 ceramic coating. And it's typically, in reality, he's either in business, somebody's winning and somebody's losing. So the shop that's doing that's either losing their behind or they're doing something that isn't exactly right.
Yeah. Because I just saw this argument on Facebook the other day where a guy said, you know what? I do those 99 jobs because that gets a customer in the door and then I can upsell them on stuff. So, he might be selling a small thing, but, he was defending himself till comments after comments. and he was claiming it's working for him. So I mean, I'd love to see a fight like that where, you know, people can explain and maybe hear that other side of it where it might be working.
Yeah, I mean, if it's working for him, I'd love to see his business program, because
Right.
a lot of the other peoples would like to argue the other way on that.
Right. It'd be like me advertising a $25 door ding, you know,
Yeah.
going, well, you know, upcharging everything else when they get there, you know. Yeah, I'll fix that, you know, cratered in quarter panel for $25. No. Have you seen some of these jobs that we're doing these days?
Well, I've
Yeah,
seen the
they're
as
pretty
seen on TV door ding puller, so I figure I can be certified. Only $19.99, 4 payments.
Suction cup and the dry ice.
Yeah.
And the boiling water. I always love going back to Hayes Freeman's old popcorn video that's still out on YouTube, which was great when he filled the fender with popcorn and made the dent disappear. But that was like, when did he do that video? It was like almost 25 years ago, I think.
Wow. I mean, nowadays if it's on TikTok, it's real. So I'm not sure what you're arguing.
Sure it is.
I've seen it on TikTok. It must be real.
Yep, you believe everything you see on TikTok.
All right. So we kind of talked about some of the topics that we're going to go into. What would you each say in your industries is the most controversial hot topic right now? Is it still the same? I mean, because some of the stuff you mentioned has been going on forever, but like, what is kind of a newer thing as the technology's been advancing that you've been seeing that's, you know, decisive?
Well, for me, on the PDR side, you hit it earlier. We both said it unequivocally. Tools being knocked off, you know, and it's just happening everywhere. I mean, it's gotten to the point it's gotten out of hand, you know. And I'm not even necessarily referring to established, you know, U.S. manufacturers. I'm talking about all the stuff from all over the world that's just bad, terrible.
Yeah. But being knocked off, it's still lesser quality usually, right? Like someone's just taking a picture, you know, building a 3D model and then
it's there's actually, and I won't mention names at all at this point, but there's one of the most reputable manufacturers and suppliers in the world for it actually had to stop shipping overseas to certain areas because literally they were having orders that they'd buy. They would ship those tools over there, and within a couple of days, they've got knockoffs out on the market.
On the Temu?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but it is. It's and the thing about it is the technology today to knock stuff off has gotten so good. You can buy a 3D scanner that's you don't even have to have the physical tool, or you don't even have to own it. I haven't personally seen this happen, and I don't know that it has happened, but literally this could happen. Somebody with ill intent could have one of those pocket 3D scanners and walk by a booth at MTE and scan about 15 items within a couple of minutes and immediately go home and produce them because you've got a full 3D effect image of it.
Right. I mean, the second they put LiDAR sensors in these, that's exactly all LiDAR is doing, is giving that 3D model. And if you know how to program it, it's exactly what, I mean, and we're all on our phones like this all the time. So you don't know if someone's scanning your product or just taking a photo.
Well, and how many guys at MTE, PDX, any of the other shows, SEMA for God's sakes, are taking pictures of everything, not just to have fun pictures, but because they see an idea that they want to buy, maybe, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to buy that tool when I get home." Well, there's no way for you to know the difference. That could be a legitimate customer just wanting to remember that tool so I can go home and buy it. That's all. And there is no way to know.
Yeah. In both industries, though, I do see people that use a tool and realize I could make this better. If I just did this little tweak, it could be a better product. So now we have this, you know, it's a knockoff, but it is changed a bit. And
right. And see, for me, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. If somebody can better something, but, and maybe I'm, you know, living in Neverland, but it would be nice if manufacturer B took something that manufacturer A made and said, hey, I'm just going to make this little change because I think it would be really beneficial. But they gave A credit for the fact that they took that idea from what they already made. And that's what I'd love to see happen personally. But like I said, wishful thinking, I know.
I know, and in Paul's industry with like ceramic coatings, that's been insane with people white labeling someone else's stuff and say, we've had some fights at the show where a company comes in and company B signs up for a booth like, oh, we made this. Company A is like, no, they didn't. We sold that to them. They're just putting their name on it. Like, it's cool. Like, I'm glad they're selling because we're providing it, but it seems weird to be next to each other when we have the same product.
Right.
And you'd be surprised. That's compounds, polishes, everything.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be like the copying of all the chemicals and all the tools. You'll have a premium tool that is built to last. It's been around for 90 years. And then you have some cheap Chinese company come in and make it look identical, the same color and everything, and sell it for a fraction of the price. And, it's to the point now to where a lot of these companies, when we do these massive trainings, you guys do it through Dink Kings or this or that, and do these trainings. We do trainings where we combine companies together. And we have companies that won't even train with other companies because other companies have tried to rip them off.
Interesting.
Yeah, it happens all the time. It's unfortunate. It really is. And see, again, I can only speak for myself, but when it comes to things like that, and I'm not suggesting that some of those knockoffs isn't quality equipment, right? But I have loyalty, and I always have to my industry, and I'm not going to buy the stuff off of Temu. I'm not putting anybody down that does, but I'm going to support the companies that support me in my trade. And
I'm exactly
the companies that sell on Temu or outside the U.S., unless they're a reputable, there's some very reputable tool distributors throughout Europe. There's in Australia, so there's some good in Italy. The show that's happening in Italy these days. So there's some good people out there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all the overseas stuff is bad, but they're selling the real stuff, and I can't support it. I can't support the knockoff stuff, and that's just me,
Yeah, but I've seen people online argue like, well, I can get 5 of these for the same price, so I'll wait for it to break and just grab another one. So it's it is a conversation to be had, and one of those we'll see if people step up and say it. Exactly.
And like in this situation, there's new people joining our industry all the time, whether it's PDR or whatever side of the industry. And like myself, when I got started, I didn't have a huge cash flow to go out and buy $40,000 worth of tools.
Yeah.
So I get the concept. You got to do what you have to do to get rolling. But again.
That's great. Yeah, we were talking the other night, people coming to mobile tech for the first time, being new to the industry, like, okay, I have $1,000 to spend. Yeah. And like one guy was like, well, I spent that in the first 5 seconds when I had about a PDR light. There was my whole budget for the show.
Yeah.
I mean, the barrier to entry is money. So I get doing a quick Amazon or Google search and see like, well, shoot, I can get this whole kit for a fraction, and that just gets my livelihood going. And, it might not be totally ethical, but, they got to start somewhere, I guess.
Yeah, man, like I said, I totally get it. I do. I totally understand. I just, don't like it.
No, but at the same time, it's when do you better your business? Do you know what I mean? It's like you're going to start, like when I started detailing, all my equipment was secondhand. And as I built my business and grew, I bought nicer, newer tools. It's kind of like,
sure,
the old 1980 F-150 was your mobile detail truck. Eventually, you're going to step into a nicer rig. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but the mentality of knockoff.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm talking to a student or somebody that's new in the industry and they reach out and they're like Sheldon just said, I've only got $1,000 to spend. Well, we all know, and everybody that knows me knows I'm a self-admitted tool whore. I have way too many dent tools, but I would rather, I mean, I've got like 5 or 6 bags of tools, big like softball bags that I haven't touched in over 5 years, right? They're in my garage. I don't get rid of them. They're like my kids, right? But I'd rather somebody reach out to me and go, look, I can't afford all this right now. Could you sell me some of yours? I have only gotten rid of some of my tools one time, ever. But it helped him tremendously. And I would rather do that and help somebody out than see them buy the junk knockoff stuff just to get going. And then, because they're going to need the good stuff soon. So, but like I said, I get it.
Well, hey, maybe we need a Mobile Tech Expo, garage sale. I'm sure you're not alone in holding on to a bunch of tools that you don't need.
Every one of us. But you know what? That's actually not a bad idea, Sheldon.
Well, there is the future. I know detailers as well. They'll get the new Rupes polisher. They're not throwing Old Faithful away. Old Faithful's still there in the garage just in case.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite tools that I own is a short, about a 30-inch rod that I think was an old Jerry Powell that was passed down to me by my mentor. That rod's close to 30 years old, if not 30. So I still love that thing. I use it all the time.
Yeah, I still have one of my original flex buffers. I think it's like 20 years old.
And it still works. But that's the point. You spent the money on that flex 20 years ago, and it's still going strong. You haven't had to replace it 300 times.
No, and I've dropped it off the top of RVs and all kinds of shit.
On purpose?
No.
Let's test it.
No.
Well, guys, I think we gave everyone like a pretty good preview.
Y'all are like a bad tennis match.
No, I think we give everyone like a pretty good preview. Any last things or reasons why you would hope people come to this OCTAGON battle?
I'm just excited. I really am. I love having these conversations with all of my net friends and the detail guys that I've got to meet. And I think this is also, honestly, one of my goals for this whole thing when you brought this up with me, Sheldon, is, there's always been this disconnect between the PDR side and the detail and the rest of the recon side. And I think if a lot of guys from both sides of the industry will come to this, they're going to see how much we're the same. We're okay. We have a different trade, but we're literally all up against the same odds and all the same issues. And I think it'll really help with that disconnect, to be honest. And that's what I'm really praying for.
Yeah, I really love that idea because it'll give you something to talk about then at the bar later. And now, even if, you're a detailer, you're a PDR, like all of a sudden we have something in common. Like, oh man, like you're dealing with those insurance things too. Like there's a bunch of things like both sides don't really know what the other does completely. So I think some of these common issues will really help like bring that together and just be that icebreaker.
Absolutely. And like I said, I'm really hoping that happens to a decent extent with us doing this. I really do.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm bringing some new guys to the show. About 10 new guys are going to be coming from my company, and a lot of them are going to get to see what they're going to learn real fast, what the industry truly is about. They're going to hear a lot of secrets, a lot of things about the way people think. People are going to talk about things that it would take them years to learn about because people are going to get up there and speak their mind. And that's what I'm excited
I love that. Are your new guys going to do our 101 program on Wednesday? The answer is yes.
Yes.
I'll take that as 10 new signups for the 101s.
So not to drop a secret, because I won't name it, has you started working on the other thing for Wednesday night?
We have. There's a new program that has not quite been mentioned, but I guess since you were kind of part of the creation.
I may be bad. Overstepped my bounds, and I apologize if I did. I'm just so excited.
No, it's really cool. So we're going to have on Wednesday night, that's when the 101s, like the 101 education happens Wednesday afternoon. A lot of people get their badge Wednesday evening as we do our badges and brews sponsored by Owner's Pride. But we're going to have a new little thing. If you've been in the industry like 0 to 2 years, I think is our demographic box you hit. we're going to slip you a little golden ticket and say, why don't you come over here and meet some people? And it's going to be a little hidden speakeasy party that has some ambassadors and some vendors set up just to, introduce yourselves, meet some of these YouTube celebrities that might, if you're new, might seem unapproachable. Like, oh my God, I've watched Mike Phillips my whole life on YouTube. Like, I'm not going to talk to him. Like, no, he's cool. Like, he'll talk to you all day. So like introduce. And so it's not so clicky because mobile tech has their clicks. And if you're not in the cool kids clique yet, it's hard to break in there if you're shy.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very cool program. I'm really excited for it.
And it was so cool. I know you know the story I'm getting ready to tell, if you don't mind me telling it. Last year, we had y'all did the little after party over at the Marriott, and your counterpart's probably flipping her wig right now that I'm talking about all this.
Yeah.
I'll get a phone call here in a few minutes. But it was super cool. We went over to the Marriott courtyard, and Cassandra came over to me and she goes, "Hey, would you?"
That's Neon Nikki.
Sorry, Neon. But she came over and said, "Hey, will you come talk to these guys?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, of course." And I can't remember. I think there was 4 or 5 guys that were brand new to the industry. They were brand new to PDR, and I'm fortunate. My face kind of shows up in a lot of places. I do a lot of stuff, and I just walked over and started talking to them. And we stood there and talked for like, I want to say it was about 45 minutes at least. And I just got the text from her. And it was so cool because, first of all, I gave them all my phone number and I said, "Look, if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out, call me." And they ran back over to her and was like, "Lee gave us his phone number." What? Wait, and they're and then I ran into them a couple of more times throughout the course of the weekend, and they kept going back to her and going, "Oh, we just said this. We just talked to this person." And it was really cool to be able to see those guys get so much more comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to just realize who to go talk to. And I think I introduced them to a bunch of people also.
Yep. And that's the whole thing. And like, we all had our little like success stories from that. And this is definitely Casey's baby that after like experiences like that.
Yeah.
And, it's just great to see people like so timid to like come in and all of a sudden just feel included. Like, oh yeah, I can go talk to him. I can go talk to anybody now.
Yeah.
So it's such a cool thing.
I remember my first show, which was, I forget what year it was. I'll be honest with you. It was 14 or 15, I think. It was the first time I went. So I've been going at least 10 years now. I had the inside, though. I went with Anson. I was helping them in their booth. So at least I knew all of them. But at that point, I didn't. I mean, I knew some other techs that I'd met over the years, a bunch of other techs, but I didn't. I was felt like the new kid on the block. I mean, I was 40 plus years old, and I'm walking around there going, "The hell am I doing here?"
Yeah, we have so many new people show up, like thinking that, they're new, they're young, and thinking it's not mobile tech. Like, oh, it can't be that big. Like, it's not SEMA. Like, that's kind of what everyone is sort of definitely on the detail side. Like, okay, I can deal with like an entry level. They still get like, okay, there's still like 6,000 people here, and I don't know like what to do or what, because a lot of them don't know what a trade show is. Like, what do I do with myself right now?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people just think at the end of the day, it's just a marketplace to go buy tools. That is absolutely not the case of what MTE is. I mean, it's just, there's just so much benefit. I'm sorry I cut you off.
Well, like the two things I kind of wanted to say is like, I got super lucky my first year going to MTE because I got to walk the show with Robert Reisman from Carbright and Chris Evans from the Detailer's Dictionary. And they introduced me to everybody. Like I just walked right into everybody's booth. Everybody talked to me. If you're going to get lucky, then you'll get lucky. But I will tell you this with my personal experience, every year that I went to MTE, my business would grow 10 to 15%. So if that's not a return on investment, then that's something.
Absolutely.
That like hits my heart because that's why we do this. If this wasn't growing people's business, we wouldn't be doing it. But that's amazing to hear those success stories. And
nor would we be doing 25 years.
Yeah,
Mhm.
25th anniversary. That's insane. I mean, I can only take credit for the past, I think 16 was my first show, something around there. But MTE has grown, and it is a force to be reckoned with now. And this year is going to be incredible.
Yeah, it is. I just can't. And it's around the corner. I mean, it's going to be here before we blink.
Yeah, don't remind me of that part, but
Sorry.
well, guys, thank you very much for hopping on, chatting this out today. I really appreciate your time, and
Thank you for having
happy
me.
holidays, you and the families, and I will see you
Both of you.
very soon. All right. Have a great night, guys, and thank you everyone for watching.
You too.
See you guys soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Maybe.